Hey, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at Cosmos Atom. I do want to say that I'm not a financial advisor. You should do your own research before investing money into crypto. If you haven't seen the previous update, make sure to watch that before watching this one. It's going to be linked in the top right-hand corner of the screen. Now let's jump straight into the TA. Now, as you can see, we still have the good old Fibonacci retracement on the chart. And for those of you who are new on the channel, if you don't know how to use the Fibonacci retracement, feel free to check out the link in the description. That's going to take you to a video where I explain in detail how you can use the Fibonacci retracement to set up long-term targets and short-term targets as well. Now, jumping into the daily chart, you can see that we have the swing high set up all the way back in May of 2021. I remember actually this pump. I took some profits earlier here, $28, I think, and we saw a pump, so I was a bit pissed off during that time, but eventually we saw a pullback, of course. And the swing low is all the way back here in March of 2020 during the you-know-what dump, because we're not allowed to say that on YouTube for some reason. Wink, wink. And as you can see, we held the golden ratio here for the last pullback we saw in December, and we also held the support of the 0.5 fib level that we saw in June last year. So we're gradually printing higher highs, or rather higher lows at this moment in time. We haven't really printed a higher high, and that's what's bothering me here about Cosmos, because on the weekly we are printing some sort of a bearish divergence here. We were printing a bearish divergence on the daily here as well, but we saw the continuation in the drop, and eventually we, as you can see, are moving back down. But on the weekly, we're going to take a look at that at the end of the video. We're printing a bearish divergence as well, I think. Or was it the daily? Let me just double confirm, because looking at so many charts during the day, sometimes you get confused. So I think I was talking about the daily, yeah. So the daily chart, as you can see, we were printing... let me get the arrow there. So over here, we were printing lower highs. Sorry, that's not what's supposed to happen. Over here, we were printing lower highs on the RSI, as you can see. I zoom in a little bit more. But on the price action, from this exact high corresponding to the price action, we were printing higher highs. That is called a bearish divergence. That's when the price is going higher, but the trend is losing strength. And that means that at some point the bears are going to take over. And this is just sort of a warning signal before that eventually happens. And lo and behold, we saw that dump there on February 8th. We saw the pullback below the 20 EMA. Then we saw a lower high printed, which is a strong signal that you're going to be going even lower. And right now we're retesting the same low that we printed on February 14th. And we could be coming down as low as $12.48 on Cosmos, because that's exactly where we saw the last bounce in January, on January 25th to be exact. And this support level is pretty important, as we have seen many bounces off of it since May of 2022. So if we don't hold this, that's going to be quite negative, because we're going to be coming back down into this descending, broadening wedge, which we really don't want to be doing, as we just broke out of it at the start of this year. We even back tested it as support, or rather the resistance as support, and we saw a nice bounce. So I was expecting to break the September high or the November high here in this impulsive move that we saw in February, and I was expecting to take out $17.75. Hopefully, get above, at least retrace to the September high there. But we printed a double M top pattern here, and you have your neckline at the golden ratio. So if you do this and you come back down, you could be looking at a lower target to the 0.5. Potentially, if we see a black swan event, you might have a large wick to the downside all the way there. Yes, I know it seems unlikely, but trust me, I've seen Bitcoin move from $40,000 or from $50,000, I think, down to $30,000, then back to $40,000 in a span of a day. I think that's the way it went during one of the pullbacks. So, you can things can go crazy within seconds because the crypto market doesn't have that much money in it. So it's easier to move and shake things up whenever the market makers or the exchanges or whoever really makes big money off of this whenever they really wish to do so. So, like I said, coming back down into that pattern would be negative. If you drop down below that yellow resistance trend line and you start back testing it, could be negative. We could enter some sort of a descending triangle here, pulling us back all the way down to $10.50, and eventually maybe even retesting the golden ratio at $8.80. But that's more of a bearish scenario, and that's if Bitcoin it really continues pulling back down, if we have the Fed turning hawkish on the next FOMC meeting, which is very possible as inflation is not looking very good. We got some more inflation data on February 24th, and it was not looking good. So the Fed is seemingly starting to party a bit too early, starting to celebrate their victory over inflation a bit too early, and we might be coming back to the 0.5 interest rates hikes. So hopefully that happens, as if that does happen, we're going to see a pullback in the crypto markets and we are able to buy in at lower prices. Like I always say, if you know that the markets are going to be recovering into the bull market eventually, you just need as much time as you can, or as you can have, to buy in at these low prices. So I would say Cosmos anywhere around $9 to $8. That's an incredible buying opportunity. The important thing here is that we don't want to be losing the swing low that we printed here in December. So going anywhere below $8.50 would be very bad for Cosmos, I think, because that would just create this downtrend and we could be continuing down, and we might, like I said, retest the 0.5 eventually if Bitcoin moves forward to the downside, so to speak. But overall, Cosmos is doing a lot better than a lot of the altcoins in the market, because since the June low, we're currently sitting at a 130% profit, which you can't say about a lot of projects. And we did a 200% move to the upside in a couple of months here since June into September. So Cosmos is definitely one of the stronger projects, and I expect it to retrace back to the all-time high somewhere closer to the end of the year, to be honest with you, or maybe even early 2024. That's what I think is going to be happening here with Cosmos, because, it's so bullish that I just think that's the only way that it's going to go down, but we'll see. And the daily RSI here, as you can see, we're coming back down, retracing. We have this resistance trend line that we're pulling back below. We have the green support trend line as well. Obviously, this was a symmetrical triangle that we were targeting, right? And you saw the breakout, and now you're coming back down. And hopefully the green trend line is going to hold us. If not, you have multiple support trend lines below. From previous videos, we've discussed all of this. So if you haven't seen the previous updates, watch that, because I don't want to be going over the same stuff in every single video. Now let's jump into the weekly chart on Binance. Taking a look at the weekly chart on Binance, as you can see, we have an Elliott wave theory playing out here. And so far, it's been holding up very nicely. We had this bounce from the blue support block. We're moving to the upside. So this wave 3 is supposed to be the biggest wave of the entire structure here. So if we're not breaking above the first fib level, the first wave high, then that's really breaking the entire structure here, and it basically invalidates the Elliott wave theory. Because for it to be successful, we need to have a move above the wave 1 here. And wave 4 pullback doesn't have to go below, or cannot go below, the wave 1 high. And so far, as you can see, we're just consolidating in between the EMAs. Now, let's just zoom in and see what's going on closer, and let's remove the drawings here. So let me get rid of that and get rid of that. There we go. So we have the 55 EMA that does not want to let us go above. As you can see, we keep running into it as resistance ever since January. The 10 EMA has already crossed above the 20 EMA. So the blue line crossed above the yellow line. That's a bullish sign on the weekly. So what we need right now is, you're getting compressed here. Cosmos is getting compressed. And once that happens, you are forced into a decision. So you either break down or you break to the upside, because there's nowhere left to go. because you're in between a support and a resistance level. As you can see, the support below is pushing you upwards and the resistance above is pushing you downwards. So you're sort of stuck in this area and you want to break out, and hopefully we're going to see a break to the upside. But if the markets move down, obviously with Bitcoin, everything's going to see a move back down. So let's just see what we can be targeting here for Cosmos in case that happens. We have a Fibonacci retracement set up with the swing low back in June last year, the swing high in January last year. The 1.618 target is at $160. That's our bull market target. And if we're going to be pulling back down below the 0.382, I would say anything below that is a very good buying opportunity or buying area, all the way down to the 0.236 at $9.20. So all the way down here to this area, that's going to be a nice buying opportunity for all of us here to dollar cost average and stake your coins on the Kepler wallet. As long as we don't lose this December high, we're good to go because we want to be continuing this uptrend here. And like I said, if we continue down with this pullback below and we don't break the wave one high, we're invalidating this entire structure. It was fun while it lasted. Obviously, I set this up actually in advance. For those of you who don't know, I was assuming that we're going to have this move to the upside. We're going to have a pullback to the support block, create a higher low, and then move up. So far, it's playing out perfectly. But like I said, this wave 3 is really screwing things up for us. Now, jumping into the weekly RSI, as you can see, we're pulling back down. We broke above multiple resistance levels. What we need to see right now is either we want to see this blue trend line hold, which I don't think is going to happen. We're going to break below if markets start moving lower, especially with all the bear things going on. Like, it's crazy that some people think we're going into the bull market right now. I mean, we still haven't beaten inflation. We don't know how the Fed is going to do that. We need to start cutting interest rates. We need to see major companies start talking about Bitcoin. For example, Tesla announces that it is going to be allowing Bitcoin, transactions for their cars or whatever. Stuff like that has to be coming into the markets to change the narrative. We gotta see the next halving come into play. And with all those things combined and the Fed starting to print money, well, then we can start thinking about the bull market. For now, this is going to be a lower high and a pullback, and I would be expecting a move all the way down to this red support block that we have retested twice already, once in August, actually 3 times, once in November and once in December. So I want to see us come back all the way down there, consolidate there, and have a next stronger leg up in the markets. And that's pretty much everything that I wanted to share here for Cosmos. If I missed out anything important on the charts, please let me know down below in the comment section. Feel free to follow me on Patreon. Check out my Twitter. All the links are down below, like I said. I'm going to see you in the next update, and take care. Goodbye.